Rev up your engines!
Well, you see, Ford's had all those problems with the Broncos, and the V6 engines were blowing up. Well, now they're pausing production on Broncos. They're pausing production on the manual Broncos, the base model, and the Everglades model. Now, they say they're going to pause it so they can revamp their Michigan facility for making the new generation Ranger. As Ford said, and I quote, "We are maximizing commonality on the assembly line to ensure a quality launch for the new Ranger." Boy, that's a mouthful, isn't it? Sounds like lawyers wrote that one. The pause is going to last until the end of the 2023 model year. What they'll end up doing is then when they start it up again, they'll call them 2024s. But Ford isn't giving any timeline on when they're going to start making them again. Well, considering the problems they had with the Broncos, it's probably a good idea. They should have paused production a long time ago so they could iron out the bugs. They obviously didn't get the bugs out of the things. They're cool looking, but hey, cool looking doesn't get you down the road. You need a dependable vehicle that doesn't have valves that are eating and engines that blow up with small mileage on it. So away we go. Ford's shutting down production of another one of their vehicles. And they don't tell you exactly when they're going to start making them again. These are the ones that are made in Michigan, the United States. They're not shutting the production down of the cheaper ones that are made in Mexico. It's even worse. You know, I would have been happy if they would have shut the Mexican ones down, but no. That's cheaper labor. They're making more profit on that. So who knows what's actually happening in Ford? All we know is that they're shutting the production down. Their reasoning, I don't know if I'd believe anything that comes out of those guys' mouths anymore. Joe Amy Scroll 74 says, "My car engine keeps dying. I got a 2012 Chevy Equinox. I ride around, put it in drive, and I press the gas, it dies, but starts right back up, and it'll take multiple times to go back to running normal. There are no codes. Help. Here's one thing. 12 years old, so it's worn, right? If you have no codes at all and it keeps doing that, the first thing you want to do is change the fuel filter. A clogged fuel filter will do that. If that doesn't fix it, after changing the filter, pressure test the fuel pump, and a weak fuel pump will do the same thing. Now, you don't want to just test the fuel pressure right off the bat, because if the filter's clogged, you can have low pressure, and it's not the pump, and you might buy an expensive pump and it's only the filter. So you change the filter first. Your car doesn't know. You don't have any codes. First thing you want to do is check the fuel pump and the fuel pressure. I'll give you a perfect example. Last week, my Triumph motorcycle was acting up, running like crap, died out, started up, runs, dies out. But I plug in my scan tool and there's no codes of any sort. So immediately it's got to be in a fuel system, right? So it's a motorcycle. It's not that hard to do. I just popped the tank. It's only got 2 bolts. And then I took the pump out, put a new pump in, away it went. That was the whole problem. It was too much hassle pressure testing on the motorcycle. You need special gauges that I don't have, and they don't fit under the tank where it is. You have to take the tank off and then hook a gauge up. It'd be a pain in the butt. So I just said, I'll buy a pump. The thing was only $60, and it fixed it, right? So that's where you want to start. Enzo81 says, I have a rough running car. I got a 2019 Ford Fiesta. The engine had cracked cylinder walls. So I put in an engine from a 2016 Fiesta ST. Now it's hard to start, and it has check engine codes P0369 and 365 for exhaust size cam sensor. I swapped them from the old engine, and the code keeps going and shakes. All right, well, here's the problem. You did something that I advise people never, ever to do in a modern car. You got a 2019. You put an engine from a 2016. There are various hardware and software changes over those years. Your car had a 2019 engine in it. When you put an earlier engine in it, things are radically different as time goes on. If you bought a whole engine with injectors, the injectors might not jive with your car. The wiring harness may not jive with the car. Definitely the software between 2016 and 19 is different, and that is the 2016 engine. It may not jive at all. I never, ever advise people to do that. If you're going to take potluck, roll those dice, throw them out, try a used engine, get the same year engine. You have to, because today there's just too many changes. Now, you already did it. So if you can find a good Ford mechanic who's willing to hook up his scan tool and see what's going on, maybe he can reprogram it to work. But maybe not. You never know, because you got the wiring system and the sensors from a 2019, and you put a 2016 engine in. There's no saying what different stuff can go on. If you put the intake manifold from the new one on the old one, it might not even have the ports in the same place. There are so many things that go wrong in that 3-year period. at that. Try to find a Ford guy to look at it. But I mean, the last time I looked at one of those, I just told the people, forget it. It's not going to mesh. You got a part here, and the computer doesn't know that that part's on there. It thinks it has this new part, so it keeps tripping the code because the parts are different and the wiring harness is different. It's a rat's nest if you ever try that. The other Nick B says, what's causing my AC button to stick and burn out? I got 07 Honda Fit. I replaced the AC button, and it worked 5 minutes. The light went out, and it was stuck. It was slightly warm. Now, the AC compressor was replaced because I thought it was that, but it's not. It keeps burning out these buttons. Help. Okay, well, you obviously have an electrical short somewhere in the system. It's a very complex system. You realize the button you push, it isn't a 12-volt button. It is a 5-volt reference signal that goes to computer modules, that goes through relays, and then ends up at the compressor. It's an old car. It's an '07. What you might try is get yourself a toggle switch, wiring, and a 10-amp fuse. Hook up that to the positive terminal of the battery and the other end to the compressor. If you can flip that and it runs, you're bypassing all the wiring. Drive it that way. And then when you don't want AC, flip the switch off because you're dealing with a very expensive computer run system. The problem is once you have a short in that system, it can destroy the computer module. And you might even find a wiring short. If you trace through the whole frame and the dash and everything and find a wiring short, you might fix it. But if there was a short, it probably destroyed the computer module. And even when you fix that, it's still going to have problems. If you bypass the whole thing and you cut the power wire to the compressor, so now it's not even in that system, then wire that power wire to a toggle switch, you bypass it all. And if that fixes it, then yeah, you're short of somewhere in the part that you cut the wire off of and you don't care because you're not using it anymore. That's what I'd advise doing because fixing it the way it was designed, you're looking at a small fortune. Jerry Della 466 says, I have dual clutch transmission problem. I got a 2012 Hyundai Veloster with a dual clutch tranny. I was driving, the warning came on, said pull over, and I noticed that gears 2, 4, 6 were having high revs, like I was in neutral. And the other gears are working fine. And then even reverse acted funny. Help. All right, well, that one side of the transmission, 2, 4, and 6 is acting up, right? You want to pray there's a bad solenoid or something making them not work, right? Unfortunately, it's a 12-year-old Hyundai. Odds are the tranny's crap. But if you can find a good tranny guy to put a scan tool, he can do bidirectional testing and pray that something's wrong with solenoids. And he just has to replace solenoids. He doesn't have to pull the transmission off and rebuild the whole thing. But you do say that 2, 4, and 6 were revving like you weren't going. It could easily be the clutch is broken inside, and a tranny guy would tell you with the scan tool, he could do some tests. He'd say, yeah, the clutches are broken. We're going to have to pull it off, put all new ones in, and that costs a fortune. And there's no way out of that. That probably is the cause of it. But have them test this first. Maybe you'll be lucky there's a solenoid went bad or something. But most of the time, it's the clutch assembly breaking down. GMG says, I'm thinking about buying a 2012 FJ Cruiser. I found one with 128,000 miles at a dealership. What do you think of them? All right. Well, they're excellent vehicles, and a lot of people were peed when they stopped making them. The main reason Toyota stopped making them is because they get horrible gas mileage, and they wanted to get their CAFE gas mileage rating for their whole company up, so they stopped making the FJ Cruisers, right? They are very good vehicles, but that's a 2012. Now, it depends where it's lived. They will rust. The bottoms will rust like mad. I had some brought to me in Rhode Island. Woo-wee, one of them, it was rusted away underneath. I should have told the guy and he shouldn't have bought it, but he'd already bought it, so there's nothing I could do, right? So you want to go in there and look at the rust. Not like anything. You want a mechanic like me to put a scan tool, check it out for an hour to tell you what kind of shape it's in, but they're really well made. The main problem is, if you live in an area where they use salt on the road and they drive it in the winter, it will be rusted out underneath. You do not want to buy a rusted out vehicle. It's worth nothing because eventually it will just fall apart in front of your very eyes. Not just the frame, the braking system, the suspension system, it will all rot away. Those things have problems with rotting. That's the thing that you want to look out for. But let's say you're in Florida, might not have any problems at all. If you're living in Arizona or someplace, try to figure out where it came from and go into there with a flashlight and a hammer, tap all the metal and make sure it doesn't go crunch, crunch, and it's rotten. If it does, you walk away. Mikey Mello says, I have a 19 Honda Pilot with the original FLA battery. I'm in the market to replace it, but I want to know, should I get an AGM or stick to FLA? All right. Get AGM. AGMs are the best batteries. The FLA batteries are in between, but they're not as good as the AGM, but they cost less than the AGM. And I mean, what's the difference? A few dollars here or there. You want something to last a really long time. Honda Pilots can last a really long. I've seen them with 350, 400,000 miles on them. I'd get the AGM battery. It is a better battery. You'll pay a little bit more, but it's totally compatible with your vehicle. I mean, you can put an AGM battery in any car that has any kind of lead acid battery. It just costs more, and it's sort of better made. They can sit long longer without going out, and they generally keep their cranking power to crank them a lot longer than a regular battery does. The FLAs are just kind of an in-between battery, but it's not as good as the AGM. It's a price thing. They didn't put AGM wins because they cost more. You don't mind that little cost price, go with AGM. So if you never want to miss another one of my new car repair videos, remember to ring that bell.